Okay, I think some of the students have seen the fact that there was like a flyer saying that Mr. Kim will be out today. I'll be out in the afternoon. If any of you guys have contact info to Kira or Abby or Amelia, Liz, if you could just let them know that I'm in the class right now so that they don't have to be in the auditorium. I think there was like a little small mishap with that. So if you guys, someone have any contact info, let me say this again, to Abby, Kira, Liz, or Amelia, can you just let them know that Mr. Kim is in the classroom that we're usually in for period 4? I would greatly appreciate that. In the meantime, can we all get started on working on these problems here? You are writing the equation, the term for the explicit formula, sorry about this, for the following sequences. And they're going to be arithmetic and geometric as clearly as I've stated to you guys. Were you guys in the auditorium? Yeah. Thank you so much. Okay. Did somebody text you? No, Mrs. Larson told us. Yeah, so I'm away in the afternoon. I did a stupid thing where I scheduled a doctor's appointment in the afternoon, and I told them that I'll be absent for the afternoon, but they put the flyers way in advance.
Wait, she asked me to write PM on the sign. Can I do that really quickly?
Yeah, sure. Thank you so much. Was the flyer by that door?
Yeah.
Oh. I know you guys are busy getting settled in, but also could you guys have your homework at that little big table that I got you guys? I'm gonna check that for you guys real quick, and then also in the meantime work on these problems for me. Ratio? Yes. When it like alternates, like from like this one. Like negative, positive, negative. That's a negative ratio. Okay, seems like most of you guys are done, so I'm gonna go over this with you guys. 12, 3, negative 6, and the sixth term is 12, and the common difference is 8. We all know that that's an arithmetic sequence, so I would like answers for both of these in terms of a sub n here. For the first one, Liz, can you tell me what you got?
12 minus 9 times 10 minus 1.
Perfect. And just an FYI, please always just have the common difference first, because if you do this, okay, like the formula from yesterday, I remember, or 2 days ago, was like a sub 1 plus n minus 1 times d. I've seen some students to do that. How do I know that's multiplied by negative 9 instead of subtracted by 9? If you write parentheses around it, that's great. But you know, it's much easier if you could just write down the common difference for me first and then write down parentheses. Just so have a habit of writing it that way. 2b is a little bit, you know, there's a little bit more things to do here, but did you end up getting the equation? 28 plus times. I think you're forgetting something in front of 28, though. I think you're forgetting something in front of 28, which is just a negative sign. Okay, so it is going to be 28, but don't forget that there's a negative sign there also. And Liz, how did you end up getting the negative 28? Mm-hmm. So when you plug in 6 for n, let's say that the equation times d times n minus 1, you're plugging in 6 right here as well as here. But a sub 6 is also the same thing as saying 12, right? So I'm going to rewrite this equation as 12 is equal to a sub 1 plus 8 times 6 minus 1. Look at that. We can do the algebra to get the a sub 1 by itself. So essentially what you're doing is 6 minus 1 is 5. 5 times 8 is 40. So that's 12 equals the first term plus 40. You know, that's an algebra right there. You can subtract 40 to the other side and get negative 28. I'm going to spare you all the details for the geometry sequence because I believe we all know how to do this. You still have to just use the explicit formula and solve for the first term right away. 2a, 2b for geometric. Just tell me the answer, Amelia. Excellent. And for 2b? 2 times 4 to the power of n minus 1. So a sub n is equal to? 2 times 4 times n minus 1. I think you're forgetting one thing here. How did you get 2? I'm very curious.
I did 16 equals 8 times 4 squared.
8 times 4 squared. You're right. So what is? It's 1. I believe you got this as 8 instead. Yeah. That's a common mistake. So 16 equals 8 times 16. Move it to the other side. So it should just simply be plain old 1 for this one. Okay, 1 times 4 into the power of n minus 1. Okay. On your homework, I just want to go over one thing. This is what I just spotted on your homework questions. I think it was, yeah, number 4. Okay, so for number 4, raise your hand if you put this as arithmetic. Okay, if it's arithmetic, what's the common difference here? Yes?
-24.
Minus 24 each time. So if it's arithmetic or geometric for this one, it should be arithmetic, okay? It kind of looks like it might be geometric, even if you just take a look at 48 and 24, but it's not geometric at all because 72 to 48, that makes no sense. It's inconsistent. So please watch out for that. Just take your time to write these out and make sure to double check your answers for these guys here. Let's see. For number... No, I think the rest of it should be okay. And you guys can see which one's geometric or arithmetic. And finding these, obviously, you guys know what to do. Plug in the n value using the explicit formula. I think we all get that. All right, so I want to move on to other components of doing the problems here. So as I promised you yesterday, I wanted to kind of go over a much more difficult types of problems. And we did these questions before, just in our do nows. Given a term in an arithmetic sequence and find the common difference to find the explicit formula. Also tell me the 52nd term of the sequence. We just did this. And so I want to just give you guys this as a practice once again, just to solely focus on this. And also, if you guys have a chance, I'm going to give you question number 6. A sub 34 is equal to negative 95. Common difference is negative 2. Find the 52nd term of the sequence by using that. So not only are you finding the explicit formula, but also telling me the a sub 52 using that explicit formula here. So hopefully you guys are wrapping up on finding the 52nd term of the last question. Let's talk about the first, where I'm giving you the explicit formula and finding the term number based upon it. So a sub n, the 25th term is negative 56. What is going to be the first term here, and how did you end up finding this, Nora? 40, positive 40? Okay, positive 40. And the reason for that is because? Uh-huh. All right, so then that's going to be 25 minus 1 here. So in that case, this is going to be 24. So what is that, 96? So that's, if you add it to the other side, so that's going to be 40. So that means that a sub n will be 40 minus 4 times n minus 1, because I have all the ingredients that I need, the first term as well as the common difference. And then for the a sub 52, that would be, Nora? Negative 164. Great. All right, a sub n. We have a sub 34 to be negative 95, and common difference is negative 2. Abby? Negative 29 is your first term? N minus 1. Can I get an agreement from that one? Yes? Okay. And then you just have to plug in 52 and get the answer right away. And so that one would be, Abby? Negative 131. 51, negative 1. Yep, there we go.
Mr. Kim.
Yes. Yeah.
What's the formula to solve for A1 when you're not given it?
The explicit formula. It's going to be the exact same thing.
And you just isolate A1?
You just isolate A1, right?
Okay.
So plug in a sub 34 here, which makes n to be 34. So it goes a sub 1 plus negative 2. That's the common difference. 34 minus 1. All we got to do is isolate a sub 1, because we know that a sub 34 is negative 95. And the rest of it is just pure algebra from there. Okay. All right, so I have the geometric for you as well, but I think you guys get the idea. I want to also explore a couple different ways in which I could put a spin to it. Now take a look at this. It says I give you two terms in an arithmetic sequence, find the common difference, the 52nd term and the explicit formula, so you're pretty much doing the same thing. Okay, and I want you to just kind of think about this for a bit. Instead of me just giving you the common difference, now I'm asking you to not only figure out what a sub 1 is, because we still have to figure that out, we still have to figure out what the common difference is. I'm not going to teach you how to do this. I figure that you can kind of explore this on your own, kind of figure this out. And right next to that, I am going to give you the geometric question as well. So it's the same exact question, but for number 4, the geometric question is as follows: 36, and a sub 6 is 972. I can see that it's a bit of a struggle. So let me just give you a small hint here. Okay. I'm going to erase all of this. And if we are trying to solve this blindly, and just by me asking you this, first of all, I just wanted you to explore with it. What I have told you from before, and I've seen this on your papers too, is that you want to use explicit formula to plug it in. So I've seen this. A sub 30 is equal to, which is 310, which also is the same thing as the first term we still don't know, but also at the same time, we don't know common difference D, but we do know the term number is 30 minus 1, which is 29. And then I see students just kind of stare at this and go, like, what am I supposed to do with this? I don't know how to solve this because, and you're obviously right. How can I solve for an equation that has two unknown variables? Do you guys remember, if you have two unknown variables, you need another equation for this, and that's where this comes into play. 210. A sub 20 is equal to 210 is equal to the first term, which is a sub 1, plus common difference times 20 minus 1, which is 19, right? So that's what we have. Guys, at this point, everything you did is perfect. This is just called systems. And the easiest way to do it is take a look at these two, and you can just knock out the a sub 1 from top to bottom if you were to just subtract from it. Okay, so here's what's going to happen. I am going to take the 310 and I'm subtract 210. So what am I going to get? 100 on this side. What happens to a sub 1s? Well, they nicely cancel out for me. This is 29 times D minus 19D, hence that minus sign in the front. So that's 10 times D here. Okay, so the common difference, you could also find out manually if you kind of think about it. From 20th term to 30th term, I moved up 10 more times, and then I jumped up 100 units, like 100 in terms of value. So if you think about, if I moved 100 units, when I moved the term number, it's like a kind of rise over run kind of thing. 100 over 10, like kind of, spacing out between the term numbers, that is also 10. So that's another way to kind of figure it out. But the way that I'm showing you is like an algebraic way of showing your work by plugging everything in, and it's a lot more constructive. And so then you will divide both sides by 10, and you will be able to find the common difference, which is 10 from there. I believe at this particular point in stage, you can use that information to figure out what a sub 1 is, and then figure out what a sub n is by using the explicit formula. Guys, it's the same exact situation with the common ratio too. You can use the two equations, and then this time you can just divide those two and get rid of the a sub 1. Let me show you what I mean by this, because I'm going to give you another practice set. So a sub 3 is 36, but that's same thing as saying a sub 1 times r to the n minus 1. I know the nth term, which is 3. So 3 minus 1 here is just simply going to be 2. A sub 6 is 972, which is a sub 1 times common ratio n minus 1. I'm just going to simplify that and say that's a 5. Maybe I should have used the bigger number at the top, but see what happens is if you were to just kind of put like a division sign all over this, see how the a sub 1 just cancels really nicely with each other? And what you get is 36 over 972 is r squared over r fifth, which can still be further simplified as 1 over r cubed. That's how I can solve for the common ratio here, by using two separate equations. So if I give you two terms, a sub 20, a sub 30, a sub 3, a sub 6, you can use systems of equations to solve for a sub 1, a sub n, and that's a lot more constructive, and it will work 100% of the time. Be my guest and please try do so. And a quick way to kind of check for your math, and it's really hard for the geometric sequences, you need to figure out how many times you're multiplying from 3 to 6. I'm going up 1, 2, 3 more times from 3 to go to 6. And each time you want to figure out what's the common ratio here. So I multiply by r 3 more times to go from 36 to 972. So your equation you can set up for this is, okay, I have 36. And if I multiply r 3 times, I should get 972. That's 36r cubed is 972. And I can solve algebraically that way. The ratio that you see at the bottom right here, if you cross multiply them like this, do you notice that you get the same thing as what I just wrote for you right there? Okay. So try to solve for these for me in the next couple of minutes, the rest of them, the first term as well as the explicit formula. And then I'm going to give you one more problem set like this one. Okay, so hopefully you have the answers. And now let's just focus on the arithmetic. I believe I gave you pretty much enough information to figure out what a sub 1 is and a sub n is. I know I asked you to find the 52nd term, but all you got to do is just really plug in 52 and just solve for the answer. I'm really interested in whether or not you can solve for the first term now. For this one, can I have Abby? No, actually, no. Kira. 20. You subtract 190, and then you should be able to get 20. So it's 20 plus 10 times n minus 1. So therefore, you can just plug in 52. And if you were to find 52nd term, what is that? 510, so 530. I don't know if anyone solved for that, but that should be the way to go. Okay. All right. And then the second one, the common ratio here. If you were to solve for it, Tony, what would you get? Oh, not yet? Okay. So 36r cubed equals 972. Can I have other volunteer for this one? Common ratio. Did anyone find out? Amelia?
3.
Our ratio is 3, right? And now using that ratio, you can plug it back into the original equation and solve for a sub 1, which I'm also going to kind of skip the step in which I'm going to show you how to solve for it because I think we can all do that. Did you solve for a sub 1? 4. So 4 times 3, which is 12. 12 times 3, which is 36. And you guys can see the third term in that sequence is indeed 36. 4 times 3 to the power of n minus 1. That is going to be my explicit formula for the geometric sequence right there. Okay. All right. So this time I'm going to ask you to find from me top to bottom of the following questions that you see here. I'm going to give you 2 terms once again. Tell me the common difference, the first term, the explicit formula, and the 52nd term. Now, I should have combined the geometric sequence as well. So I'm going to give you the geometric sequence question here, which I'm going to ask you to find for the following for me. Tell me the common ratio. Tell me the first term. Tell me the explicit formula. And tell me the 8th term in the sequence. wrote geometry. So you have exponent, but I mean, it's not added, it's multiplied. Do you have the first term? Is it this one? But you know that this is correct, but you just wrote negative. Well, oh, you just have the correct. Ah, okay. I believe you forgot the fact that when you do this right here, you subtracted by negative, you're not adding. So this is negative. Okay, so here, you cancel these out, right? Yeah. So then you said positive 3. Oh, so you changed to positive 3. What's negative 784 plus 384? Because it's negative 784. Negative 4. Right. So first, let me just check the first one. This is your first term with your common difference. That's 64, not 54. I'm glad that obviously the second run, you guys are all doing a lot better. Showing you that systems of equation, I believe it helped out a lot of people here. And that's the beginning stage of how we can approach these questions. So like I said, there are much different variations as to how the questions are gonna come about, but I think to the extent this might be it, where I give you 2 terms and you have to essentially find everything here. You have to find the common difference. You need to find the first term. There's a lot of work that needs to be done. For homework today, I'm solely going to give you guys questions based on this. One side for arithmetic, one side for geometric. I believe in total maybe about 12 questions. And you're going to be solving for me all of these by, if you want to use systems of equations, that's okay. And that's a really good way to show me your work. And it's a very constructive way to organize your thoughts. And just one thing I ask of you is please don't make a mistake with your signs. The negative signs, don't tell me 2 times 2 is 8. Those kind of silly mistakes is what's going to get you from being getting 100 versus, 90. Okay. Even though I would love to give you 100 because you understand everything, those mistakes I have to take points off, in which I want you to minimize as much as possible. But it's going to happen to some of us. I'm not going to penalize you on too much about that. For the first question, arithmetic, let's start to go over these because we're slowly nearing the end of the period already. The common difference here. Let's go back to Liz. If you can tell me what the common difference you found for this one. Minus 20. Okay. As again, you can use negative 784 is equal to the first term. And here we have the term number to be 40. So I'm just going to say plus the common difference D times 39. Negative 384 equals A plus common difference D times 19. A systems of equations, once again, tells me that these two will cancel out. Negative 400 equals 20D. Solve for it. You should get negative 20. If you get a positive 20, just take a glance and just look at it. If I'm adding, I should get bigger, but this is getting smaller in terms of negative numbers. Like it's getting bigger in the negative sense. So therefore, that you got to watch out for these signs. By using that information, you can solve for a sub 1, which Amelia would be? That's way too big. Because let's use, you can use either one of these two as your work. Okay, so I'm going to separate this as my work. Let's say that I use a sub 20. Negative 384, therefore, would be a sub 1 minus 20 times 20 minus 1, which is 19. Negative 384 equals a minus 380. Add 380 on both sides of the equation. Should end up with a negative 4. If that's incorrect, then the rest of the dominoes will fall as well. You have to make sure that at least these two important ingredients, the first term and the difference, is going to be correct. Then obviously you can just plug those in. And boom, there we go. And then let the calculator do the work for you. Negative 4 minus 20 times 51 right there. That's negative 1024. I believe that's the answer. I'm going to leave that up there, and then because I don't have time, I'm going to move on to geometric sequence. Ratio. Nora, what's the common ratio here? Not yet? Okay. Abby, do you have it? 2. A sub 3 is 8. So I'm just going to actually start with the higher number because it's going to be easier for us to kind of see it. 64 is equal to the first term, the common ratio, which we still don't know, 6 minus 1, which is 5. 8 is equal to 8 times r squared. If you just simply divide top to bottom, a's cancel out. 64 divided by 8 is 8 is equal to r fifth divided by r squared, r cubed. Hence, our common ratio is 2. That's the work for r equals 2. And you can use that information to solve for a sub 1. Abby, what'd you get?
2.
Perfect. 2 times 2n minus 1. What is that going to give me? 2 to the 8th power. Is it 256? Yeah. There we go. Okay. So again, 2 terms. Make sure you have it some sort of a systems of equations. Okay. As long as this is set up correctly, you should be guaranteed a very nice numbers for R and D. If you get a decimal, you know you're doing something wrong. So please expect to have some sort of integers, which I can't guarantee 100%, but it's going to be nice numbers in most throughout your homework problems. Okay, guys, thank you so much. That's going to be it for today. I'll see you guys tomorrow.
Happy birthday, Mr. Kim.
All right, thank you.
Happy birthday.
Thank you so much. I'm sorry, Abby, what was your question?
Oh, I was just saying, does it matter what number you put on top? Divide and subtract that?
Nope, because if you reverse it, you're going to get this, like that.
Oh, okay.
You can just cross multiply.
Mr. Kim?
Yep.
Can you go back to the very first slide quickly? I just ran out of time. It was the first problems we did.
You mean the do now question? Or this one?
That one.
Okay.
Got it. Thank you, Mr. Kim.
No problem. Take care.
Have a nice birthday.
Thanks. Take care. Thank you.